say it's evangelism. It is evangelism. You know, people are converting their significant others to horror. So I love that aspect of it.
That 100% makes us sound like a cult, but it's a fun cult. It's a good cult.
It is a good cult. Yes.
So we're here to celebrate the sixth season of The Last Drive-In on Shudder. And this started off as a 24-hour marathon. You broke the damn servers. I know, I was there desperately trying to get in and watch. And now you're here doing your sixth season. What has that journey been
Yeah.
like?
We're the show that won't leave.
The last drive-in will
Um,
never die.
yeah. I don't know. We're listening to the fans. And I mean, I've done the same show for 3 times now. I did this. This is the same show that I did on the movie channel and on TNT.
Mhm.
And it's just like, I don't know any other show like this where you just add things to it and it just kind of grows organically over the years. But we listen to the fans about, what they want. And what they wanted was more shows, more
Mhm.
shows. And so we actually have more, we're doing single movies every other week. But we actually end up having more movies because we have such a long season,
Mhm.
and so it's more movies than those compact 10-week double feature seasons that we were doing, and and I think this is going to work out well because we can still do. We'll probably do a marathon in the summer.
Mhm.
We'll probably do some special programming, like we're going to bring back Joe Bob Summer School, which was the thing that we did on Monster Vision. And so we'll be doing extra stuff, special stuff, but the regular show will be one movie every other week, and that means the people on the East Coast can go to sleep.
I was gonna say for West Coast fans, I was like, ah, dang. But I'm like, okay, East Coast fans, I'm sure appreciate it very much.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a 5 hour show. It's like
Yeah.
the double feature is at least 5 hours the way we do them,
Mhm.
and so so we're taking pity on the East Coast.
Well, the West Coast will take one for the team in honor of our East Coast brethren. But like you
Yeah.
said, in the long run, it ends up being more. We have less of an off season now, and we basically have more, and we have every other Friday night where we can be social if we want to be.
Yeah. The problem on the West Coast is, do people get home home from work in time for the show to start at
That's
six
true. That
o'clock?
was always the other thing.
But
Yeah.
on the other hand, people don't really go to work much in LA, so I'm not worried about
I mean,
it.
I can kind of attest to that. I'm usually home in time, because I just stay here. But so you use this episode to celebrate the legendary Roger Corman, filmed it
Oh yeah.
live at the Joe Bob Jamboree, which is also wild. You guys sell out festival venues. That's crazy. Is Roger
Oh
Corman
yeah.
as delightful as he seems?
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, as I said at the beginning of that night, um, you know, of the hundreds and hundreds of people that I have interviewed and met over the years, there's just two or three that I'm in awe of, and one of them is Roger Corman. And it was so great to be able to honor him. I had honored him 40 years ago. We gave him the Lifetime Achievement Award 40 years ago. We had to come up with something, something new. We gave him an award engraved on a Chevy hubcap 40 years ago, so we had to come up with something better. So we just gave him an award engraved on a Cadillac hubcap because we don't do foreign cars. It should be a Lamborghini or something. We don't do foreign cars. So anyway, it was great that Roger, at 97 years old, agreed to come out to the drive-in and spend that night with us, and it was magic. I will never forget it. And I was trying to get Roger off of his game. I was trying to. He's got standard responses for a lot of questions that people ask him over and over again. And I think I was partially successful at getting him to talk about things that I haven't heard him talk about before. And so yeah, uh, it's one of the favorite things I've ever done.
Does that give you like a special kind of additional joy when you can get somebody to respond outside of a sort of canned response that they've said 1,000 times?
Yeah, absolutely. I have canned responses. I because I get asked the same
You get the same
questions all the
questions.
time.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
happens. It's
and
inevitable.
it's
Yeah.
like if I keep thinking, well, I should come up with a better answer, so I'm not going to repeat the same thing. But then I'm like, well, it is the answer. It's a good
Right.
answer.
Then you start using the thesaurus, and then your answers get real weird because it sounds like AI wrote it or something.
Yeah.
It's very rare that we get an event in this sort of age of on-demand streaming. We all kind of just watch things on our own time. So I feel like this has become this weird sort of phenomenon of like live streaming with thousands of other fans on a Friday night. And it's not the same as watching like the Grammys or some award show where everyone kind of tunes in at the same time because it's a very specific niche mutant audience. So you got all these
Yes.
people coming together, and I think it captures this communal aspect that a lot of us have been missing, and you've brought it back.
That's the main thing that I love about it is that we created appointment TV on streaming, and so we got the best of both worlds. We got the big event time when we're all together and we're all communicating online. And then but then we're also, we're available 2 days later. You can watch the show on your phone by yourself if you want to. That's not the way I recommend celebrating these movies. I mean, because let's face it, I mean, a lot of times, whatever movie we're showing, you could watch it somewhere else. There's many places you could find it, but so it's not so much the movie as the celebration of the movie and the way we talk about it and um, the way we either honor it or sometimes deconstruct it.
I would say
But
you're always honoring it in a sense, I would say.
yeah, I mean, if it makes it to the show, we're honoring it, even if we make brutal fun of it. So
Exactly. It's like in loving jest, I would say. You know what I mean? Like when
loving
you
jest, and then sometimes you got something like blood-sucking freaks, and what can you do with that?
the masterpiece, Blood-Sucking Freaks, is that what you're referring
Yeah.
to?
Now we have I don't remember which week of the season it is, but I think it's the third week of the season. We are doing comfort food night.
Mm.
And I've picked what I think is the comfort food movie of the 80s. It's a comfort food movie for people who were in the 80s, but also a comfort food movie for people who just love the 80s. And we'll see if people agree. But it's a movie that everybody has seen,
Mhm.
or everybody in our world has seen.
Right.
Uh, still kind of politically incorrect and controversial after all these years. But you watch it because I don't know why you watch it. You watch it
Because it's comfort food.
because it's comfortable. Yeah.
It does what it says on the box. You just said it's comfort food. This is great. I feel like so much of being a film fan in general, but specifically a horror movie fan, has a little bit of evangelism to it. And you're doing that on the highest level because there's so often, a lot of times it's like, oh, we've seen this movie 50 times, but there's hundreds of people saying it's their first time watch. So you're out there kind of introducing new titles to people. And we're in an age where kind of like physical media, in a sense, is getting left behind. So some of these movies that people don't deem worthy are getting left behind, but you're kind of here, kind of championing these movies and making sure kind of nobody gets left behind.
Yes, and especially when we show a movie like Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker, or The Baby, movies that have been over the years forgotten. And we can recreate that time when you could make anything. And we're not in that time anymore. There are too many gatekeepers, that are controlling what we can watch. And so, yes, it's great when somebody says that this is my first time watch. It's even greater when they say this is my first horror film, or this is my first time to really enjoy this type of film. It's because there's converting people to the movie, then there's converting people to the genre. And that's great. I love it when people come up at the conventions and um, they say, I've been a horror fan for years and I've watched all your shows and um, my boyfriend is kind of new, and I'll say, oh, she dragged you here, didn't she? And and I'll say, oh, but you're infected now, you know. And so, but I love it when people are you say it's evangelism. It is evangelism. You know, people are converting their significant others to horror. So I love that aspect of it.
That 100% makes us sound like a cult, but it's a fun cult. It's a good cult.
It is a good cult, yes.
My mom notoriously is not a horror movie fan. I grew up watching horror movies with my dad, but there was one year my mom was going through cancer treatments. She's in remission now and she's doing great, but she had surgery. So I went home to visit, and it happened to be the night of the Phantasm Marathon. So I was home and I put it on, and my mom just had the best time and was sitting there just like making all of the reactions. And it was such a joy to sit with somebody who hadn't seen these before and react in real time like that. And I was like, horror fan. You don't think you are, but you
Wow.
100% are. So
Did
thank you
she
for your
watch all
evangelism.
four movies? All
We
four
made it.
Phantom?
She maybe dozed towards the end, you know. She just got out
Okay.
of surgery. We got to get cut her some slack, but yeah.
Okay. 'Cause at the very end of that marathon, we sang the 12 Days of Phantasm, and which was also one of my favorite moments that we've had on the show.
You've
Um,
had a lot of moments like that. Do you have a specific distinct moment that you could pinpoint as your favorite on this for the last drive-in?
well, it's probably this one that's on the show tonight, which is when Roger Corman comes out for his to when he comes out on that stage at the drive-in in Las Vegas, and we're celebrating his 70th year, not his 70th year as a person,
Right.
not his 70th year, uh, his 70th year as a film producer. I mean, there are very few people in any aspect of motion pictures who have worked for 70 years. There are some actors who started as child actors and worked into their old age who have probably worked for 70 years.
Mhm.
But aside from that, there are no producers, there are no directors, there are no I think there probably are no writers who have worked 70 years. And Roger's first movie was a movie that he made in Las Vegas in 1954, and he was the producer on it, and so and he's planning movies. He's got three movies in development. You know, it's like what are you doing, Roger? He does not know the meaning of retirement.
Yeah,
So,
lucky for us. There's a very sweet moment between the two of you. It's very full circle. You present him, he has two hubcaps. You present him with his new Lifetime Achievement Award, and then he gifts you a Lifetime Achievement Award.
yes, he does. But I have to go 40 more years
Yeah, yeah.
to get my second Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah, we're looking forward to 40 more years of the drive-in. Do you have, I don't know if you'll have an answer for this, maybe you do, but you've done so many. Is there a movie that has your favorite drive-in totals?
Favorite drive-in totals? Wow. The second movie tonight, Death Stalker, is pretty up there. It would be in the top 10 or 20. There are, uh, I don't know if you saw when we showed the animated movie Mad God,
Hmm.
but the drive-in totals on that thing were incredible. They went on forever. They went on longer than the movie. And so, you know, probably those for drive-in totals. I mean, but the guy worked on the movie for what, 40 years? It's
Yeah.
like this movie was 40 years in the making. So I think probably those were the most amazing drive-in totals ever.
That deserves a hubcap just for that. Like the sheer amount of time of one's life spent on a single project, I think is pretty cool. Phil Tippett obviously is a legend, but I think
I
that is
know.
amazing.
But he was also doing, he also did Jurassic Park. He
Yeah.
was also doing other things. He did the Star Wars movies.
Mhm.
So he was, it's amazing.
With the weirdest little passion project on the side that he eventually had to see the light of day, luckily.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite
He also,
joke?
by the way,
Oh.
he's also the only guest I've ever had who ended up in the psych ward from movie making. It's like the process of making films itself thrust him into the psycho ward, and he talks very openly about it. Fortunately, he's fine now. He's
He is a
medicated.
mad god. He's a mad
Yes,
god.
he is a man.
Exactly. I know we need to wrap up, but there's two words that you say that are my favorite words, specifically when you say them. Naked and Halloween. So can you pretend to introduce a movie titled Naked Halloween?
Well, first of all, it's naked. I'm from Texas. It's a naked Halloween. Uh, why is Halloween one of your favorite words that I say?
It's the emphasis. It's the Halloween.
Oh, Halloween. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Um, yeah. We celebrate the second Halloween. Uh,
Mhm.
what's called, people make fun of me because I do the German pronunciation, but it's Walpurgisnacht in Germany. People say, stop doing that. Call it Walpurgisnacht. You know, pronounce it. Anyway, the uh, we're trying to bring Walpurgisnacht from Europe to America and have the second Halloween and really celebrate it. Now, it's a difficult transfer because it's about getting really drunk and dancing naked or naked
Naked.
and having sex with the devil. Okay, so this is so there are elements to this that are like so far beyond a frat party, you know, that it's difficult to bring it as the second Halloween because people say, well, that's not for children, and it kind of is not for children. But but we've celebrated it. This will be our third or fourth year to celebrate Walpurgisnacht on the show, and we've totally failed in our mission. We have not. It has not caught on in America. People are not having Walpurgisnacht parties. I think I'm going to hit it really hard this year on social media, though. I'm going to say, get your alcohol. Here's the alcohol. Here's what they drink in Sweden. Here's what they drink in Germany. Get all this stuff. Get Maybach. Maybach is the beer you drink on this day because this is the day when the witch. It's the festival of the witches. Who wouldn't be into that?
This doesn't
It's
sound like a
about
hard sell to me. This sounds like actually an
all
easy
about
sell.
witches. I think the hard sell part of it is like it's not a children's holiday the way Halloween has become,
It's
and
Halloween. It's
so
adult Halloween. Very
it's
adult
adult
Halloween.
Halloween.
There you
It
go.
is adult Halloween, and we should celebrate it. It's like we should have festivals. We should have Walpurgisnacht festivals, and really they do this thing halfway to Halloween. Don't do that. What the fuck is that? Do Walpurgisnacht. It is exactly halfway to Halloween. It's the opposite side of the what do you call the pagan calendar, the
Uh-huh.
Gaelic, whatever that is, the Gaelic calendar. It's the other. It's the holiday of Beltane. You know, Halloween is Samhain,
Mhm.
and the opposite on the circular calendar, exactly opposite, is Beltane. And so when the pagans did it, it was they would sacrifice virgins and shit. We don't have to go that far, but we can.
Well, why are you going to take all the fun out of it? That's why it's not catching on because you're like, let's do the watered down version. I'm like, well, if we're going to do it, let's do it properly.
um, you know, it should be our bacchanalian, you know, holiday version of Halloween. And we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep trying.
I think this is the year. It takes a little bit for things to catch on. I feel like momentum has been building. Third time's a charm. I think this is the year that it really begins to take off.
Yeah. I mean, Darcy loves it because it's all about, you
Of
know,
course.
being a
Yeah.
bad witch, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm like always, you know, there's two ways to celebrate it. You can be chasing the witches, trying to destroy the witches, or you can be a witch, you know. So I always ask Darcy, which do you want to be? And she says, do you know me? You know, yeah,
Only
okay,
one of those things is fun. We're not chasing witches, we are the witches.
right. So anyway, um, I didn't answer your question, but it's naked. Like when I was a kid, um, you know, if you got in trouble with your grandmother or something, she would say, "You better straighten up, or I'm going to slap you naked."
That's a phrase that your grandma would use.
That is right.
And on that note, all right, Joe Bob, thank you so much. It was wonderful to have coffee with you this morning and talk about Walpurgisnacht and how to bring it to America.